Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for coming. My name is Madeleine Laird. I'm the Executive Director of Hope for Animals. This is Belinda Lewis. She's the Director of Animal Care and Control, and Jessica Henry, Director of the Allen County SPCA. The three of us as a coalition meet on a regular basis to try to come up with initiatives that make life better for animals in general here in Fort Wayne. And our most recent project is the Community Cat Project. Thanks to the ordinance changes that we were able to effect together, we're now going to be able to come up with a more humane solution for feral cats in Fort Wayne. Our goal is to eliminate euthanasia, but also reduce the population overall, so that we're working towards eliminating feral cats without killing them and then constantly picking them up and repeating the process. So I'm going to let Jessica start off telling you a little bit about it, and then we'll continue on and we'll be available for questions when we're done.
Madeleine's right. The Community Cat Initiative really will be the first huge life-saving measure that we have as it pertains to free-roaming cats in our community, and each one of the coalition members has a role in this Community Cat Project. For the Allen County SPCA, we will actually be at the tail end, so to speak, returning the cats back to field. And that, again, that project or process is called Return to Field after the animals have been neutered. But to start, most animals will be coming into animal care and control, and those animals who are assessed and deemed healthy will be spayed and neutered at Hope for Animals Clinic and then returned by the Allen County SPCA to the area from whence they came. Belinda, I don't know if you want to take over at this point and talk a little bit about your role.
First, I'm excited that we have this opportunity. This concept, community cat programming, is not a new concept, and it's actually been around for years. It's very successful throughout the country, and one of the most successful proven locations is Indianapolis, Indiana. It's been down there now for about 10 years. And in a coalition environment, we now have the opportunity to do this for Fort Wayne. That's the only reason it hasn't happened before, is we needed, as a municipality, to be able to team with some nonprofits who wanted to make community cat programming work for our community. So this coalition environment is amazing, and I'm excited to say it's what's driving it forward right now to save lives. First of all, for us, for Animal Care and Control, we're going to be just as available as we always have been. The big difference for us now is we have a life-saving option. In the past, we have been trapping out pet overpopulated cats that have been wandering the neighborhoods. Some of them are feral, wild cats basically that have not had human exposure, but some of them are cats that have been abandoned or turned out by owners. Those cats we've been trapping for years, and the logic says that when you remove those cats, if no one claims them and they're not adoptable because they're not social, if you were to euthanize them, you would not be repopulating those neighborhoods. That's not correct. In essence, what happens is you're removing the population that's using those resources, and they repopulate ever-growing numbers. We have 20 years of data that show that trapping and euthanizing cats does not work. So Animal Care and Control will be trapping as we always have. We'll be providing those traps to citizens. The difference now is when we pick up those cats, we'll be able to identify where they came from, transport them to Hope for Animals, which again we've been transporting for years. So we're not adding a scope of a job employment or new tasking to our officers that we haven't already been doing to some degree for years. The positive side is it's a live outcome. This cat's going to come back into the neighborhood, and it's going to be spayed or neutered. It's not going to be breeding. We're not going to have that increase in population. And with time, we hope to stagnate the community population of stray cats, and then through attrition, see that population drop. And when one cat gets spayed or neutered, it's not just that one cat's life that we saved. We have now saved all of the potential unwanted litters that cat would then cause. So we're excited about the opportunity, and we want to thank all the coalition members on behalf of the city and the administration.
How many kittens can a feral cat have over the course of its lifetime?
Well, the HSUS statistic says that theoretically there can be 480,000 kittens born exponentially by one mated pair. We think that's a little unrealistic because it's mathematically correct, but that would require each kitten that is born to live 7 years and to reproduce X number of times. We use a different formula. We basically say that for every animal that we spay and neuter, 2.5 are not born. And basically what we do is, instead of counting every animal, we count males and females as 2 parts of one to make a litter. So we divide the number in half right away, and then we average the number of litters for dogs at 6 and for cats at 4, so we average it at 5. So if you take 5 and say it takes 2 animals to make 5, then 2.5 is the number we use. So if you take into account that I believe we trapped something, or Animal Care and Control I believe had something like 8,000 in intake in 2010, you can do the math from there. Fortunately, with the help of Animal Care and Control and SPCA, we've managed to see a decrease in intake in all animals, but primarily in stray and feral cats. And we want to really focus on that because we realized as a team there really is no options, there's really no program, there's really nothing. Whereas we have covered everything else, we feel pretty well. That was just one big void. And people here in the city will feed cats and they think they're doing a good, kind thing, but technically they were breaking the law, and realistically they were adding to the population by providing more resources. The more resources there are, the more cats will survive. So by our approach, we're not only doing the best thing for the cat's health, which is spay and neuter, but we're also eliminating the opportunity for them to repopulate, and they can repopulate to the tune of 3 litters a year.
Can I add something real important here for private cat owners? If you are a private cat owner and your cat goes outside, it is really critical that you microchip that cat. If your cat is not already microchipped, our 3 agencies will be offering low-cost microchipping until August 18th for any privately owned cats that are already spayed and neutered for $10. And we're doing that because the legal holding periods on these community cats, a community cat is basically a free-roaming cat that has no known identification, no microchip, no tag, and we know where it came from, so we can return it to that location. So that free-roaming cat has the ability to become a community cat. So if your free-roaming, privately owned cat is outside and it has no microchip, there is a chance that it could come back into your neighborhood, spayed, neutered, ear-tipped, vaccinated, and now be a neighborhood cat. So we really want to be sure that we offer that option through this grace period. So we're going to acknowledge the legal holding periods that we always have had for all these live release cats, which is 3 business days. So if you lose your cat over the next till August 18th, and it does not have any ID, be sure to come down to the shelter right away, look for your cat, it will be microchipped, and then we can be safe and know that your cat is going to remain your cat and not become a community cat.
How do you know where each feral cat comes from? You say return it to its neighborhood. How can you keep track of which cat comes from where?
We're picking them up. Now, a number of cats are coming through our after-hours depositories. It's really important, if those individuals who are bringing those cats in want to save those lives, we must know where they came from, because those cats without a known origin cannot be returned just anywhere in the city. This is a very structured program, and those cats that come into us that are healthy, of good body weight and an appropriate age, we know they had resources where they came from. But if we don't know where they came from, we can't return them. Now, even if you, the person who puts that cat in our depositories, don't want to tell us who you are, that's okay. But tell us where this cat came from so that we can save its life.
Stick a note in with the cat.
We've got after-hours depository paperwork. We want you to fill that out. And if you, at the very minimum, tell us where that cat came from, that's the critical information.
I'd just like to add really quickly that the project has several prongs. We're talking primarily about the return to field portion of it, which will reduce or eliminate the euthanasia of these cats almost immediately. Part 2 of that, though, is in order to reduce the population, we have to spay neuter in a targeted way. So in addition to the cats that will be coming into Animal Care Control, which is, as always, their outcome will be different, Hope for Animals is also seeking a grant that will allow us to do targeted spay-neuter. It's a kind of an involved process, but basically what we're doing is targeting entire colonies to try to spay and neuter all of them faster than they can reproduce.
Within one specific geographic
Within
area.
one specific area. And then that way, those cats are returned and they will protect their area and keep other cats from coming in. And then we continue to do that in a very systematic way. And the reason that's important is that once we start doing that, we will not be charging anybody for the cost of the surgery of those particular animals, and we will be out in the field with our teams actually trapping them out and bringing them back ourselves as part of a TNR, targeted neuter return program. So there's a lot to it. It's sort of a process of getting them back out on the streets, but making sure they're not reproducing and that they're protecting their territories. That's how it works. And that way we don't create the vacuum that we were creating previously where new cats just came in.
One of the logical questions right now would be, if I've got just a few stray cats that have been hanging out in my area and I've wanted them to be taken care of all this time, can I now just trap them out myself, take them straight over to Hope, have them done for a nominal fee that I cover, and bring them back to the neighborhood? Absolutely, you can do that.
And just for the record, the nominal fee is $35 regardless of sex. That also includes their 3-year rabies vaccine and their ear tip and microchip.
And that individual does not become the legal owner of that cat. That cat is still considered a community cat, but they have taken the initiative to do the right thing and secure that cat and bring it on in so that they create that stagnant population that's not breeding in their own neighborhood.
They can, however, choose to be the owner of that cat if they'd like to have it done that way.
Is that microchip somehow designated as a community cat?
Yes.
Yes.
Because in the database, it's registered. It'll be registered to Hope Community Cats, and the address will be wherever it came from. And that way, if it gets picked up again, we can return it where its resources already exist, and also so that we can sort of keep track of if the same ones are being brought in over and over again, that we may have some other issue going on.
And we can use a cross-section of streets too. It doesn't have to be your physical home address. It can be a cross-section if the animal comes in through the depository, for example.
One of the important aspects of this for the city is that there will be folks out there who don't like cats. And it was important to us to build into the ordinance amendments the opportunity to address a grouping of cats that may get out of control. And that can happen if somebody's not playing by the rules. So if we have somebody who decides they want to be a community cat provider, we have rules, guidelines, and structure for them to participate in this program without creating undue nuisances for the neighborhood. If they are feeding cats and caring for cats under this program, that's wonderful, as long as they abide by the rules. If they're not abiding, then we'll pay a visit and be sure that they understand what they need to do to get in compliance with the overall program so they don't create a nuisance in the neighborhood that didn't exist before.
And we will have a hotline for questions at Hope. If anybody wants to get more specific information, the public needs to know details. That number is 260-440-9893. To be sure, it's a brand new number, 9893. I got it wrong once before.
There's also links to the City of Fort Wayne Animal Care and Control website that explain all this and have a lot of this documentation. The new ordinance, the community cat provider guidelines, and some videos that have been produced and linked to our website, and that's fwacc.org.
The last component to this will be in the coming months. It's not established quite yet, but in the coming months, the Allen County SPCA will be establishing a barn cat program for those cats not able to be returned to field. If there are neighbors, for example, who absolutely refuse to allow the cats back into their community, the cats are at risk. We will be working with rural areas as well as city folk who would be interested in having barn cat or free roaming altered cats who have been microchipped returned to that area, and there's a strategy there for that the Allen County SPCA will be educating the community about and implementing that program in the coming months as well.
Any questions?
I mean, we must have covered
Yeah,
everything.
we covered
then. Wow,
everything.
we didn't give you a chance to answer.
I asked as I went along. So.
Yeah. Okay.
So one of the things we thought about this morning was, if I want to trap cats and have them spayed and neutered, microchipped, etc., so they become a community cat, am I also obligated to provide food, shelter, those items? No, you're not. You are absolutely allowed, and we would encourage you to go ahead and trap out those cats that appear to have good body weight and are healthy, and proceed to moving them toward being a community cat, and you're not obligated to feed. The fact that they have good body weight already indicates they have resources. You don't need to supply additional resources, just get those cats spayed and neutered.
I guess one other thing I would like to add is that if for the community, if you have cats that you've trapped or are about to do that as a result of this information, you do need to go to Animal Care and Control directly if you are not interested in that cat being owned by yourself, or if you aren't able or willing to pay for the surgeries. You're certainly welcome to come to Hope if you want to pay for it yourself, if you want to be the owner, absolutely. But the program itself will always start with Animal Care and Control. They will assess if the cat is healthy enough to go back out into the neighborhoods or not.
Is there a place where we can get traps?
Initially and right now, Animal Care and Control has always been a provider of traps to citizens who live inside the city limits of Fort Wayne and have stray cats in their neighborhood that they would like to have trapped out. And you can continue to come into Animal Care and Control, get those traps. When a cat is trapped, you'll call us for pickup. We'll pick up that cat and assess it for processing as a community cat. We are working on some grants to hopefully increase the volume of traps that we can make available as a result of this program, because we expect a higher demand. Additionally, those cats will have to actually stay in that trap through this whole process, so we'll be transporting them in the traps over to Hope for Animals, and so we would have to move new traps back out into the neighborhood.
We also have some traps available. We're working on getting more as well. But if that's an issue for anyone, all they have to do is call any of us and we'll help them get to where they need to be.
How many cats do you hope to do in the first month, 3 months, a year?
Well, I've been doing some statistics because I'm getting ready to write a grant. So a $200,000 grant, which is what I'm hoping for, will spay and neuter about 4,500 cats. So we're hoping that that's typically a 2-year grant. So that's our hope. We really would like to ultimately do about 12,000. There are approximately 16,000 in the city based on current statistics, and we need to do between 70 and 80% to get ahead of the reproduction. So it won't happen overnight, and that's important that everybody understand. We're just getting started on a process that's been building up for 40 years. So you will see improvement immediately, but it's not going to be solved right away. It's going to take a few years. Any other questions?
What if you want to make a donation to the program?
Well, I think we'll all take that phone call.
Every one of us.
Every one of us will take that phone call. For the surgeries, if you want to be a sponsor for the surgeries, that would be for us. But you certainly please consider making donations for all the programs, because all of us function on donations and wouldn't be here without them. Thanks for asking.
I would, revert one more time to the microchipping of owned cats. Again, that's $10 per microchip from all 3 organizations for cats that have already been spayed or neutered and who are brought into our organizations during our business hours. And all 3 of us have our business hours posted on our website. So there's not a specific time that you have to bring your owned cat in. It's during our business hours. We will gladly microchip that spayed or neutered cat for $10. So that you don't run the risk of your cat becoming a community cat if that is not your ultimate intention.
And to be honest, our hours are a little confusing because we have surgery hours and we have wellness hours. So the microchips will be available during our wellness hours unless your pet's being brought in for surgery as well. All right, well, if nobody has any other questions, thank you so much for coming and helping us get the word out to the public. We are very excited about this program, and we're very excited about our opportunities to work as a coalition. We think there's great things ahead for animal welfare in Fort Wayne. So thanks.
Thank you.